Alright, first off, I'd like to say excuse this fucking nasty ass fever blister I have on my lip. I've been working at a haunted house, and makeup and masks and stuff have just kind of made it bleh and all. Excuse me. Just made it, just funky and shit. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and say that commenting on one of these videos within like the first couple of days that it comes out, and I say one of these videos, I mean a Shane Dawson video, it's fucking pointless, dude. Nobody's gonna fucking see your comment, like seriously. So just like honestly, I'm not gonna say don't bother with it, but if you have anything important to say, or like something that you feel is very important, don't even bother. But anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and read my comment. It was a very large comment, and I had to do it in uh, multiple blocks. Like I had to comment a bunch of times, and I kept replying to myself and putting continued where it was. So if you want to read it, feel free to go and search for them. But I'm gonna go ahead and read what I wrote. You kill yourself because you're being bullied. You weren't strong enough to live outside of school. You can't handle being called names. How about the stress of not being able to pay rent or buy food to survive? You're fucking sheltered when you're in school. Once real life hits, then suicide, while still being a weak and selfish move, is more understandable. While I understand the pain of losing a friend, you have to look at it logically and without emotional connection or bias. If one can't handle little shit, one really can't handle big shit. With people like that, unless relief is found quickly, it seems like something along the lines of suicide or self-harm is inevitable. The world is not for the weak. The only reason I feel comfortable with my standpoint is because I've been there. I've had to deal with these assholes every single day for years. Every school I've been to, I've had constant enemies whose main missions were to make my life hell. I've endured it. I used to cry every fucking night because of it. I have seriously considered suicide at one point in time. I've been to therapy about it. Don't you assume shit about me and what I've been through. I was strong enough to get out of it, though. Strong enough not to off myself. Strong enough to see that life wasn't going to be like that forever. And I'm struggling in real life, too. If it wasn't for my parents, I'd be so far up shit creek, I wouldn't even have arms. Even if I had a paddle, I wouldn't even be able to use it. But I'm staying focused on the positive and staying motivated. Nothing will make me waste my one and only life. There's just too much awesome shit in the world for me just to give up. If you've gone through really emotionally taxing situations that resulted in depression and were strong enough to make it through without doing anything to yourself or others, hell yeah, motherfucker. And if you got out and ended up learning a lesson and ended up becoming stronger, even better. If you're in the situation, unless you are clinically diagnosed with some kind of chronic depression that requires meds, thinking logically is out of the question. Emotions are the exact opposite of logic. Emotions are so closely tied to states of depression that depression itself is illogical. Suicide is illogical. Knowing this, however, should lead people to think more logically when judging situations and feeling. If you go on emotion and intuition alone, you fuck up. I threw all of my potential away on a relationship, and look at where it has me. You people know my regrets and pain and current state better than anyone. I have no car, shit job, I'm almost 20. Not going to school, but that's being worked on. And I royally failed at living on my own, landing me in my dad's house once more. And for what? Love? Ha! It was worth it at the time. But hey, just discount my words, because I've not had experience to speak from or anything. I haven't lived. I'm only 19. I have zero say on the ways of the world. The logic's everywhere, and it's relevant to everyone in every situation. That's something a lot of people need to understand. The weak shun logic and everything it stands for because logic tells us that we don't what we logic the logic tells us what we don't want to hear. Logic forces us to make decisions based solely on fact and truth, and the concrete and the tangible, science and understanding. It forces us to disregard our feelings. It forces us to be cold and take reality head on. Like I said, logic is the enemy of emotion and intuition. Fucking idealists just want to dance around logic and try and say it doesn't matter, and then they want to cry when shit doesn't go their way. Hell, I'm an idealist, and I see the need for logic. Don't just push something aside that's so integral to succeeding in life simply because you want to pretend that it doesn't matter. Never say logic is bullshit, no matter the situation. You want to cry and whine about the losses that occur because of suicide? Maybe if they would have used a little more logic, shit would be different. I never said that it was surprising that the weak crumble. It's called natural selection. It's black and white, and the weak die off, and the strong survive. That fact has nothing to do with how anyone was raised, or anyone's morals, or viewpoints, or opinions, or values. That fact should be the driving force to be awesome. I'm not angry at the weak and the foolish who decide that the world is better without them. I mean, honestly, if everyone who commented on this just disappeared, the world would keep spinning the exact same way that it did before. Some people can't handle the sheer fact that our existence is so fucking minuscule. Well, you have to find your own reason to live. Without a reason, you don't deserve to live. Hell, even Christians have a reason to live. You want to get more respect from me than a Christian? Have a reason to be alive. I think Jigsaw had it right, man. If you aren't strong enough to live, die. It's simple. Cut out everything else and look at the solid facts. If you aren't strong enough to be alive, or if you feel like you have no purpose, die. You're a fucking asshole for hurting all the people who cared about you. But what do you care, you escapist? You're using the easiest method of taking care of a problem. And I'm not talking about the people with actual chemical imbalances, the people with medically diagnosed issues. They come out of the womb with strikes against them. It makes more sense for people like that to suicide than anything else. You can't reason with crazy people because reality is distorted for them. Rationality means nothing to people like that. And if a sane person experiences something so terrible that they no longer have a grip on reality, so be it. Same thing goes for them. It's all still a form of weakness when you look at it from far away. It's all very unfair, and I'm not holding these kinds of people responsible either, but it's the truth. Fuck sugarcoating anything. That just attracts pests. And oh no, don't get me wrong, people need help to get through stuff a lot of the time, and in the end, they survive. I'm strictly speaking of suicides here, the ones who lost hope and had no motivation and no positivity. Life in general shits on people. That's how it works, especially here in America, if you're poor like me. As long as you don't fall off the edge and start tying a noose for yourself, but instead staying positive and working towards a solution, everything is cool. I get that it's the little things, but I refuse to believe that suicide is an answer to anything. It took me 8.5 minutes to read that, and if you stayed through this, awesome, thanks so much. But if not, meh.